saying, the same business cases Tony does. Yeah. Justifying, when we hire advisors.
Yeah.
Those business cases, they're just, they're not financial, right? Other than maybe if there was a cost to the advisor.
Yeah, where there won't be, arguably there's less cost here because you're like, so it's,
I'll be with you in about 5-10 minutes.
Business.
Thank you.
Efficiency.
I think the risk thing too. Whatever, all of a sudden the province is like, here's what we're gonna do. I mean, if you make.
Yeah, we are.
Oh, we are live.
Yeah, I only just unmuted us, so.
All of a sudden, 2 months later, you're like. I think visibility into what the province is gonna do is critical to this, which we don't have because we're in the middle of an election. So I just put that out there as my concern.
And I think that's a risk in any event, but I think a tenet of this change has to be that we reduce optionality for the province. I think candidly, one of the worry, one of the opportunity.
How are you?
Staying warm.
Today.
LG is going to conduct and manage the whole gaming market, but to do so, we have to spin off our digital business. Right? Can we do that? Right? And I might argue if we made a change right now that brought our digital lottery and retail lottery business together under a single leader, we're better.
Oh, yeah. Really? I didn't know that's an interesting story. Oh, that's not us. It's not bad for us in terms of. I think it's big breaks. Slave around sort of process. And you guys many actually had it there. Comes up. Yeah.
But the thing is, icebergs.
Yeah, it's in, if it doesn't hear you clearly, it'll make upwards.
Wow. They did the interview, they did it, it took longer to, it's very oh yeah. Sounds like that. You know what, Shannon?
There's Dan.
Okay.
Dan.
All right.
Thanks.
Those things don't, they don't want to stuff.
It has been.
Yeah.
I would say there's probably 70% of the organization that's like all of it. There's probably 15% of the organization that is still feeling it out, not so sure. It's probably 15% of the organization that is for me. We tried that before, it would never work. Zami and I talked about it. I guess it increases that risk. It's obviously
For the purposes of the agenda, we want to do
think about our labor relations.
CDC stuff first.
Karen,
What was your thoughts when you put it together? Because I don't see it on this agenda.
Right, I thought because that was exclusively EDC, they didn't do it in Africa.
Right?
Yeah, there's nothing that.
Put people out
I
of
read the report.
the business, but a bunch of people, there's a group. So I don't.
Okay, so I've got 12:02. Are we good to start? Yeah. Right on. Okay, so we'll call the meeting to order. The agenda is included in the invite. And I know there's some hard copies here, but we have Joe online. So Joe, you got a copy of the agenda, okay?
You have your question, you have your hand for a question?
I have to
Not
stop.
hearing anything, but I'm gonna assume you
in
did.
about 2 minutes.
Okay, so we're looking to adopt the agenda. So based
Thank
on our
you.
first reading of it, is there any edits or additions required? Not seeing any? Okay, can we get a mover in a second? Okay, Carol, Bill, seconds, all in favor? Agenda. We have one declaration of pecuniary interest related to Gannon on a port update. Does anybody else have a declaration of pecuniary interest with respect to any of the agenda items? that we have today? Seeing any? Okay. So we'll move to new business, economic development 2024. Right?
Okay, that's my item.
Yep.
Just a quick update for the group is that we are in the process of putting together a 2024 summary, which we will present to council. Looks like right now, mid-March to end of March, council meeting. Basically recapping the activities last year. One of the major highlights obviously being the real estate and the movement of lands that we've had in Yates Avenue, which have been significant.
Yeah.
As well as some of the progress on the port, which have been significant. So should be an interesting report, and we'll have that together, and we'll make sure everybody gets a copy of that as well.
Okay.
Next item, the report update.
You want to hear the next one? Okay, report update. So Gannon's got the conflict declared. So if there's anything in terms of what we're on that. Public meetings you want.
Okay. So our application to the Green Shipping Corridor funding has been approved. As you recall, this group has approved $195,000 already. City approved an equal amount, and then we were approved for funding of $397,000 through the Green Shipping Corridor program. They're also helping us with a lot of the information gathering that we need to make this an effective project, because we are not port experts. So they have got us connected us with other people such as the Hamilton Oshawa Port Authority and people like that who are willing to help guide us as to what next steps in the process are. So we are making some pretty good inroads on that. Next steps are we're going to be issuing a series of RFPs. So we'll have a total of 3 RFPs that will be released over the next period of time. Those will include commercial study and market update. So that was already previously done back in 2015. So we're not going to redo the whole thing, but essentially give it a refresh and keep the cost down on that. Port depth analysis and dredging feasibility. We've got to make sure we can get the boats in and out. So that's a real important one. And we also want to understand if there's any costs that are associated with that. Port design and master plan, that will come at the final stage. So that one will be the last one to be released. And the port underwater pattern modeling and lake bottom susceptibility analysis is another one. So all very specialized RFPs, but we've got a pretty good list of people we're thinking about too. And it will be going on the public website, so it'll be available to anybody to bid on. In addition to the launch of the RFPs, we're going to be posting the contract senior coordinator position, which was approved in the original project plan and funded. So we'll be putting that out there. Position will range from 18 months to 3 years, depending on the complexity of the project. We got a pretty good timeline laid out now, but as with any project, there are variables, so we're giving ourselves a window to work through. We've got initial conversations with a number of people as far as some of the market research to understand who is here that could use the services. We've also sourced a number, like literally in the hundreds of companies that are currently doing business with Canadian ports. that may be interested in relocating to Sault Ste. Marie once the port's up and running. So we'll be also contacting those folks to get a better understanding of, the port itself is part of the solution that we need, but to diversify our economy, we really need new business coming in. So that's going to be the end goal in this whole thing, is to attract those folks. And that's really about it. We've got multiple locations. We're in conversations with many people. And as this thing comes together now, we'll get more granular on the updates, obviously respecting confidentiality of certain parties that are involved.
Sure. Does anybody have any questions?
I forget, I read that reference before, is it gonna be intermodal or just bulk or intermodal as well?
So to be determined, but ultimately it will be intermodal. Will that be in the initial launch? We're not sure yet. So that's part of the scoping right now is, do you build it and they will come? Or do you attract some business and then, build the capability? Turning it into an intermodal facility, from what I understand so far, again, early days, is not a major undertaking. It's an undertaking. There's equipment requirements and things like that. The most important thing is having in place to park the vessel. And once you can get the vessel, and then you can process as you need to.
Big challenges, of course, would be the importing, because one of the challenges we we used to run out of containers, because the amount of containers sitting in Wheeload and Brampton is to depend on the imports. Without the imports, we don't have empty cans. So we can't do the exports. So that balance shifts substantially. Having enough empty containers here to function, exporting, shipping, categories becomes a function of empty cans. So coming in, stuff coming in is a functional part of what's good going on. You can always bring in empty cans, but it's an expensive trip to bring them off.
Yeah. Thank you.
Really good question.
Yeah, Rick, so you expect all these studies, 3 years, kind of the maximum time frame, or that's kind of the time frame you're looking at?
Yeah.
3 years to complete this, and then,
Maximum, yes.
and then the next step, we'll take decisions based on the studies.
Yeah, so the studies are all in line to lead us to construction. So there's obviously an appetite to get this going and up and running fast as far as from our perspective. So I think we've got a lot of people mobilized on this. And again, the goal is to get to that shovels in the ground state.
Thank you. Quick follow on that. So if the stars align for you, what's the time frame look like?
The critical path, best case scenario, 18 months.
That's on the
Best
design
case.
RFP. I mean, to where you're actually ship coming in. And
Oh, okay, well, so then that would be to be determined, 18 months construction. We don't know the exact construction timeframe as of yet, because that's part of the studies we'll be doing as we go forward.
Sure. It probably limits you then with respect to the conversations you can have with potential businesses when you don't necessarily have a time frame on which you can be live, right?
As of today, yes, but I think within the next 6 to 12 months, that conversation is going to start getting a lot tighter.
Right.
Once we start to understand what we're up against, the key is understanding the potential locations, because there are a few different locations that we could look at potentially to put the boats in. And you need to understand what it would take to prepare the bottom and the, the shoring, what the docking's gonna look like. So once you get a better line of sight on that, then you can get a better line of sight of what the construction is gonna be and the costs and the timelines. So.
Okay. Thanks.
What's the timeline of the request for proposal?
So we've got them completed. So they are going into purchasing. Purchasing will do their reviews, will apply all the necessary language that purchasing does, and they will be going up, I would say, within the next 4 to 6 weeks at the latest.
Any other questions on the port? Good. Got farther than I thought you were going already, so that's good.
Well, thank you.
Industrial land.
Okay, industrial land. We had a good year in Yates. We're basically down to about 5 usable acres left in Yates. So that park is pretty much full. We've also been doing some prospecting for additional sites for industrial parks. So I have had some initial conversations with a few people in the city as to availability of lands, and it's like, we'll just keep marching forward on that. We do want to identify and stay well in front of our needs for industrial land, because the land is really the engine that drives the growth. You've got to have a place for people to locate here. If we don't have a place for them to locate, we can talk to them and sell them a nice book of goods, but.
Yeah, so we're talking West End land, or are we talking East?
We're talking land within the city at this point. I kind of have to maintain some.
Yeah. Just understanding that there's, I know that. Been a number of people looking to co-locate with respect to the Green Steel Initiative and alcohol, which is like West End type stuff.
Yeah.
There's 2027 stations built. 2029 probably, some Paul Cracker from back. Access. So,
Yeah. Well, and as we get closer to any potential deals, we definitely consult with you as to, just as a PUC, we need to make sure that lands would be serviceable.
Yeah, I think it wasn't so much with the PUC that I was saying that that's all publicly available stuff, right? I think it's more just, the West End is going to see some growth. We're expecting to see some growth, I think, with respect to what's going on in Oklahoma. So if you put it over the East End, it's
Understood. Yeah, good point.
with all.
Yeah, so that's where we are with the industrial land right now. So if we do identify good locations that make sense, then I'll come back and I'll present to this group, and I may come back with an ask for some support depending on what it looks like.
Sure. So the process there, you need to do environmental assessment on where you get medical services and that stuff has to happen, right? In order to, so right now we have 5 acres. What's the time frame to get more done?
I'm in discussions with people at this point. So I'm looking at imminent, probably within the next 3 to 6 months maximum.
To acquire the land,
If all goes well, yeah.
and then services, EA, all that, probably a year or 2 or
Yeah, maximum.
maximum. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Any questions on that industrial land?
Sorry. Again, it's total, the container stuff is going to be a mix of storage. I don't know about the port side, does it have capacity to store?
The plan is to have, yes, significantly down area as well as a covered building that you could store it in. And then there are facilities here that can handle processing of intermodal freight, I believe.
Any other questions on? Assuming the funding was what you mentioned with respect to potentially local personnel.
Which,
The agenda. item.
yes, yeah, potentially,
Potential funding.
yes,
Socialize, that's what being asked.
yes.
Okay.
Wise man told me once to, it's probably good to socialize.
Generally is. Okay, so next item up is board vacancies. I think we discussed this one previously. Or discussions with the city, I think come to a bit of a understanding that some relate to the city, some relate to us in terms of who decides that that's now been dealt with, right? Yeah. So is this sort of the next steps, I think, is that what it's on?
Yeah, I believe so. It's really to, because I believe the understanding, and I know you were directly involved with the conversation, is that due to the difference in terms that we don't want to have everybody expire on the same date because you lose your continuity and your governance. Right?
And not to use the word people expire. But people's term is finishing.
Same but different.
Yeah. So so I think the next steps will be getting that alignment as to, okay, what are the dates, getting everybody on basically onto a matrix so we can say these are the terms and when they expire, and these will be the city terms to make sure that we have that 2-year buffer, I believe is what we're
Yeah,
talking about.
so I can speak to that. So we had some discussions previously around whether our appointments, so there's on the board, there's EDC appointments and there's city appointments. Whether our appointments had to be aligned with the timeframe, of city appointments. And so we've had a discussion with Tom Bear, CEO and the CAO, and we can do ours when we would like. City will do theirs in conjunction with the council. I think that was the intention. And so from a succession planning perspective, it makes a lot of sense to not have them all at the same time to stagger it. And so the thought is that we would do midterm appointments with respect to the seats. So give or take 2 years in, we would appoint for a 4-year term. And that way, if there was turnover with one or the other, there would still be existing experience. That's what. So that's been endorsed by the city. It's for us to endorse that plan and then to. What are we down?
One city, one EDC.
City?
So one of the big hurdles was the terms of the EDC appointees, because that's not integrated anywhere in the bylaws.
Right.
So you just said 4 years, and that's perfect. We can take that. But I think, I guess it would be 4. It would be 3 years left for the EDC appointee, right? Because the city election will be the fall of 2026. So if you appoint someone right now, they would expire in 2028,
Yeah.
right?
I'm assuming that it's gonna be new council appointments. So the city appointments are probably changing.
That's when they start. Yeah, it's the fall election, and then the following January is when the city wants to turn.
So that's 2 years. So if we were to do appointments now, like 10 years, up to 4 years, give us flexibility to. So I guess that's the discussion. Does that make sense? Does that make sense? Having everybody's term in at the same time seems to not make sense. And we have that discussion obviously. Are we okay with a 3-year term? I think, right?
Yeah, and the city appointees are 4 years too, so it would be
So
the same.
are we good with that? Just, we'll clarify, we'll put a motion to it.
So to clarify, the city appointments would be 4 years, EDC would be 4 years.
Yeah.
But stagger.
But staggered based on.
Yeah.
When we determine we want to appoint, it's staggered.
Exactly. So city would have their refresh after the election of 2026, so January 2027, then 4 years from then. So the EDC ones, if you guys appoint someone today, which not today, but you guys do need to appoint someone, so they would expire in 2028. It's the only word I can't.
Sorry.
Term. Okay, so I think what's before us today then is we would like to do a posting for the EDC. I'm assuming that's how we would do it, just to do that open and transparent there, right?
Right, we had talked about posting for the 2 vacancies in tandem.
Yeah.
And we could do the application process and then.
Yeah.
We would share all the candidates and really it would, well, ours has to go through council.
Yeah.
Yours has to go through, but I think we could use the same internal process.
Yeah.
Um,
All right.
And then, yeah, to work with us.
So you're gonna do a midterm appointment for the city one that would have a term ending at the end of.
Correct.
So ours would not have a term ending.
Yes.
That way. Okay. So I think I'm sensing that there's alignment here, so why don't we see if we can capture this in something short form of motion here, but I think we're moving that we recruit for the appointment of a new EDC board member with a term to be from the time of appointment until the end of 2028. request that we work with the city with respect to the posting for the city's representative as well, whose term is expected to be ending at the end of the role we agree to. I got a mover. And moves, second, Gerald, all in favor? Passing. Gannon, Gerald. Hard to write and to watch at the same time, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, capture that.
Advantage
as
is
you
I
can.
can do it, though. Okay, and so when you post that, just from a question of logistics here, how long does it stay open for? Is it normal that we would then encourage people to go and see it? Like, is that something that we should do on our end as a crew to get people to do it, or do you just normally just post it?
Well, it's been a while since we've done it. It's really done, I think the clerk's office has the power over this because there is a board appointee committee.
Yeah.
Within the city, so we would have to post it according to that process and everything. Hopefully, we can tack on the EDC appointee position as well. The city will just share the applications with you guys, but if you want to invite someone to apply, that's up to you guys.
Probably in our interest.
I think that's what happened with the last big kind of turnover. I think Rick and Tom were recommending people apply.
All right, so if we have anybody in mind, let's encourage them to go through the process. It's good.
A bit concerned about the expiring fund deflation. Someone on the board of there has burial permit. Makes me a little bit concerned. It's planned.
Okay, so I think we have a plan, which is great. So once we get the applications in, this board will have to soon the subcommittee to actually choose a candidate, right?
I've never seen the EDC choose their
I'm-
appointees, so I don't know.
I'm gonna assume that's how we're gonna do it, right? That this board wouldn't want to do it as a whole, it makes a lot of sense. So between now and the next meeting, figure out if you want. Upcoming meeting says board to determine, but I think there's one on the calendar.
There's no schedule right now.
There's no schedule.
There's no schedule. So if you want, Steph can work with Trina to check your availability. If you guys still want to do every other month.
Yeah.
If you guys want us to do some polls first, to make sure everyone can attend, but it's been pretty good working with just your schedule. We've seemed to.
Pretty good for me.
For the chair. But it's worked out well the past couple of years, but whatever you guys.
You can move it to once a quarter, or is there a reason why it's every few months?
Yeah, I don't know the history of that. I know we've been fairly skimpy on the agenda. Just, I think part of the challenge is there are some funding requests that come in where there can be some timings. So maybe I'll put it on to staff, what works best for you with respect to your access to the board to get the things done.
So from a transactional basis, which is accessing EDF funding, if we have people requesting. Quick is good. Obviously, we don't want to make people wait if they're trying to do a business plan and they're seeking funding, so. You know, that's either we keep a regular scheduled meeting or we keep a longer schedule, like a quarterly meeting with occasional ad hoc. If we do have a significant request, that we can do a quick ad hoc meeting to address that request as an individual item. I'm open to either direction.
Joe, you got any thoughts on this one?
I agree with that. You can call a meeting right away.
We're having a tough time hearing it.
Can you not hear me?
Oh, that's because you're hearing.
I'm unmuted.
The system can hear you because
We can read you.
It's kidding you, but for some reason our speaker's off. So we can read what you're saying, so carry on.
Okay. I don't have a problem with what's being suggested in terms of dealing with that issue. If you can call that.
Okay. So 2 options every other month, which is the current calendar schedule or every quarter? The consensus, which one?
Because our AGM's in June. So usually June, so if there's something, I guess even just till the AGM, if we have 2 months from now and at the AGM, maybe we can decide if we want to go a quarter after that or if there's things that come up.
Else have any thoughts on it? That works? Good suggestion. So that would mean that we would like to get probably a late April meeting. And AGM for June. And maybe on the schedule for the AGM, we can put on there that we set the meetings for the subsequent. Get that.
I'm having some difficulty hearing everyone. You want to set a date in March for a meeting? Is that the question?
Next item up is adjournment of the meeting. So unless there's any new business. Seeing none, have a motion to adjourn. Okay. Here, what? Have a